Tai Chi is often thought of as a martial art turned into a wellness activity. And it's also considered an exercise like walking, yoga, or stretching. However, it's much more than that. And it's a way of being, a way of living, a way of supporting the body to be the very best that it can be. We all arrive to class ready to learn the patterns of Tai Chi and think that when we've remembered the pattern, well, we're done. Again, we're quickly corrected by this fact as we discover that in order to support well-being of the body, mind, and spirit, we need to engage with transforming our day and our activities to be energy building and strong. My guest today is coming to us from Egypt, and I should say my three guests today coming from Egypt, where Mohamed has been a fellow organizer of World Tai Chi and Qigong events, as well as wellness retreats. Mohamed Essa is the founder of Chromatic Healing. Chromatic Healing has been developed based on his study and experience in BioEnergy, BioPhysics, and BioMathematics. He is also a Chinese medicine practitioner from China, a Qigong teacher, and an NLP and Neuro-Semantics life coach. He teaches holistic coaching, holistic healing, meditation, and he helps people connect with deeper connections for self-empowerment and inner power through his international holistic retreats. The driving force and philosophy of Mohamed's work is to help people to get in touch with their true selves and inner centers through self-determined goals related to well-being and self-discovery. Mohamed is the founder of the Blue Lotus Wellbeing Foundation in Cairo, Egypt, a foundation which specializes in the area of mind, body, and soul well-being. The foundation provides short and long-term workshops and retreats that emphasize the integration of the emotion, mental, spiritual, and physical aspects. Hold on to your hats. This is going to be quite the discussion today. So you're listening to Be Well with Michelle Greenwell. This is sponsored by the Cape Breton Tea Company and Dance Debut Inc. Welcome, Mohamed. It's lovely to have you here today. And Farah and Noreen, thank you for joining.
Welcome, everyone. I'm really honored to be here today in this very special podcast. And thank you, Michelle, for inviting me and for this interview.
Perfect. I know when I heard you speak, it was like an instant, I need to speak more with you. And so I'm excited for this opportunity today. Before we start though, let's get an intention set for our listeners. So I've chosen a card from my Affirmations for the Body and Biofield deck. So this can be found on dancedebut.com's website in the shop. So this is what the front of the card looks like for the whole deck. There's 4 decks in one. But the card that I chose today, and I'm holding it up, and for the podcast listeners, it was the cover that was there. It's a black cover, and it has a little ribbon of color that they call child and baby. So mother and child, sorry. And what I'm holding up now is a card that looks like it's got two hearts kind of mirroring each other, but it's more blues on one side and more oranges on the other side. And this is from the Meeting the Divine section of the card deck. And the affirmation is, receive all you need from the elements, fire, earth, water, and air. You are a star-filled being, and all you need is written in your DNA. And it has to do with the 11th chakra on the left hand. So this is where energy comes into the body. This is how you can easily bring things to you, or the opportunity for you to accept. So I'm just going to set that intention for our start today. And to bring us into flow with this, we're going to just talk a little bit about what everybody has in their mug today. All right, Mohamed, go for it.
Yeah, I have my mug. It's a Chromatic Healing mug. It has the logo of the Chromatic Healing. And then the other side we have here, keep sending light.
Lovely.
Yeah, keep sending light. As the theory of the chromatic healing is based on the idea of light, receiving light and sending light, and balancing our light also.
Perfect. And there's a ribbon of color sitting there for those people who are on the podcast. And what have you got inside the mug?
Sorry, can you repeat that again?
What do you have inside the mug? What beverage?
Yeah, I have Egyptian herbs. It's hibiscus. It was I put the hibiscus in the hot water and then drink it. Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful hibiscus, and it looks always so beautiful too.
Yeah.
Nice bright color. Yeah.
Yeah.
Farah, what have you got with you today?
I honestly had a cold cup of water. It's too hot here.
And it's a nice big frosty mug.
Exactly. With nothing on it, a transparent mug.
Oh, perfect. Okay. And Noreen, how about what do you have?
I have tea in here, and that reminds me of the wooden floors. I always like wooden floors. It makes me feel like cozy and safe. So it has wooden floors in here and hot tea inside.
Lovely. And what kind of tea did you make?
Normal English breakfast tea.
Nice black tea. As I've discovered working with all the different kinds of black teas, there is no normal. There's so many options available. Anyway, so what I've prepared comes from my tea company. So that's Cape Breton Tea Company, and it would be capebretontea.ca if you wanted to look it up. I put in Island Passion, and it's just been renamed Awesome Island Passion because it's also been under the label of Awesome. And this is all the herbs that we can find in the gardens here. So it's got some lavender, some chamomile, raspberry, blackberry leaf, and it's just a really nice soft herbal blend. So I enjoy this one in the summertime, and what I've done, it's not hot here today. It's actually quite cool. It's trying to rain. We just want to send rain to the other end of the country where they've got forest fires going like crazy, but I put it in my beach mug today in hopes that I would be heading to the beach, but I have a feeling that today will be an indoor day. So, all right, so cheers to everyone. Thank you so much for all of you joining in, and I look forward to our conversation.
Thank you, Michelle.
Oh, okay. So, Mohamed, you've got an incredible background. Do you want to talk a little bit about the traditional Chinese medicine and Qigong?
Yeah, actually, I started my journey from around 30 years. I just completed 30 years in that track. Actually, I started that while I was in the school. I found myself at the age around 7 that I'm suffering from asthma, and I was hardly breathing. I was hardly move or playing with the kids at my age. And that continued with me for around maybe 10 years. From the age of 7, that I discovered that, and I started to visit the doctors a lot. And at that age, I started to be aware about the value of health and how being healthy is something really, really important. Because I used to stay for a long time, and also part of my time going to visit the doctors, stay in the clinic and waiting to go in and then go take the medicine and continue and then visit them again. I found that a very long time of, actually I can say that part of the time that I should play, I'm visiting the doctor. And from that age, I started to be aware being healthy is something very important. At the age of 15 or 16, something like that, I heard about the holistic approach through the Kung Fu. I joined the Kung Fu school, and they introduced for me the meditation and how to breathe and how that can make you healthy. And I started to follow that kind of practices of meditation and stomach breathing, and I found something very strange that in 3 months after doing the stomach breathing, I started to find a change in my health. I didn't expect that actually to happen. And then I said, okay, there is something interesting here. And I was at that time 15 years old. I started to read more, And that's, by the way, from 30 years. From 30 years. The amount of information which are available about the breathing, about the wellness, about the holistic approaches, about the Qigong and the Tai Chi was really very limited. I started to follow some masters, which was famous master at that time, like Master Yang Junming and Master Xia. And later I studied with Master Xia and I became an instructor in his school, the Tao school. And after following the Tao's philosophy from that age and continuing to practice, I found that I didn't only change on the physical level, my psyche also changed, because I noticed that I was very shy. I built the idea that I'm weak. I'm not as the kids in my age. I'm not powerful at them because of my asthma, because I cannot breathe well, because I'm not energetic as expected. And that also, you know, the challenge part, and I can say that for any kid to have a kind of health challenge, that the people around them, especially the family, the father and the mother and the family members, they start to judge them by their health, by the health, by their health. Actually, I can say that I was taking a lot of judgments about a lot of beliefs, like your health is weak, you are weak, you should eat more, you should be stronger, and I don't know how to do it, by the way. And when I started to practice the Qigong, you know, I will tell you something. It was really a turning point for me at that time. One day, after practicing the sitting Qigong, which is the still meditation, one of the Tao's practices, I started to feel that there is something moving inside my body. I started to feel something I couldn't feel before. And that was the inner power. I can say that the normal person can feel that there is kind of energy inside their body. When I was at 7, actually I didn't have this feeling. I couldn't feel that there is a kind of internal strength. After practicing the meditation, maybe after 3 weeks or something like that, I started to feel there is something new. I feel that I can hold something very strong. I can catch it, and no one can take it from my hand, because my hand is clenching in a strong way. I didn't have this feeling before. And that was a transformational moment for me. It's almost 30 years now, and I never forget that moment. I never forget that moment. Because it is a very special moment, and it is a turning point for my beliefs, my health, and my emotions. You need to understand that the person in front of you now is a person who believes that he's very weak. He doesn't have the power to speak. He doesn't have the power to face and talk for the public, because my health affected my personality and also my belief system, because I believed totally that I weaken everything because my health weakness. So I'm really thankful for the wellness science, for the meditation, for the Tai Chi, for the Kung Fu, because it turned me 100 degrees to the other side. Now, I can face people, I can speak, I go to interviews in the TV, I have been interviewed in international TVs, I have been into events and organized events, more than 5,000 people or more than 7,000 people in front of me, and they're listening to me. I coach people how to be strong. I teach people, you know, the interesting thing that I teach people how to breathe. Could you imagine that? The kid who couldn't breathe when he was 7 years old, now I teach people how to breathe. And from that, I learned a very strong lesson that maybe the weakness that you have, maybe the gift that you need to use. And that's his Michelle.
I'm listening and I'm thinking we had a very parallel childhood because mine
Yeah,
was the
really.
same. Yeah, and I spent a lot of time in the hospital with bronchitis, pneumonia. The allergies were out of this world, the allergy shots, the whole 9 yards. And as I was thinking about what you were saying about your thought process and then their decision making and then the way that you do things, it is all skewed by how you feel. And I don't have allergies, asthma. I coach people on breathing through Tai Chi, where we don't have to think about it so much. But I was thinking, as people say, you know, how do you get so much done? How is it that you have your hands in so many different things? And I'm reflecting on what you've just said, in that I feel good. So when I feel good, I can make decisions easily and I can move forward easily.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
people who are held back by a health issue, that's not possible for them.
Yes.
Everybody's nodding their heads. So for those people listening on the podcast, I think we all have a similar life experience in that capacity. And I don't think people really think so much about how they're held back by the emotions and the mental capacity when you're not feeling well.
Actually, you said a very nice word. I will copy that from you, that I feel good. When I reflect on my childhood and when I was very young, I didn't feel good. And that's why that affected me and affected my decisions, my belief system, my emotions, even my psyche. And also I believe totally that I'll continue like that. I don't feel good. I'm weak. I'm not as the others. But I'm lower. I'm very low. I'm now, because of just the breathing, that you just regulate the breath, that made my body more aware. I'm strong. I can be strong. The strength is inside. And it's not related to my belief or my emotions or my feeling. It's something that inside, that you just let it grow. And that's what happened with me.
Mm-hmm. And some people think that if they rest, because we're told, you know, when you're sick, rest, plenty of fluids and rest, and that'll work. And but you didn't change anything. You let the body have quiet time, but you didn't support it in making changes that would allow it to engage that innate healing process to really kick into gear and go, which is a longer way of trying to recover from something. Yeah. Okay, so as people are listening and they're thinking about maybe their own emotions, maybe their own thought processes, and as I say to some of my classes too, what we thought was the truth, is it really the truth? Or is it just what we accepted and we believe it's the truth, but then you start to question, could it be different? How could it be different? And if you had a new truth, what would that mean? You know, it just, it's amazing. Okay, so let's go from there to when I heard you speak at one of the World Tai Chi and Qigong events, and you were talking about your special program. Can you talk now about the chromatic healing?
Yeah. Yes, I spoke before in the World Tai Chi Summit about the chromatic healing. Actually, the chromatic healing started from around 10 years, and One of my backgrounds is engineering. I used to work for IBM, and before that, I worked for the university 2 years. I had around 11 years experience in the field of computer engineering. I am a computer engineer. I used to work with data, information, knowledge, processing, and designing, architecting in the software field. And I used to practice the holistic aside. And one day it came for me the idea that we can build a new approach in the holistic field, which I give it the name, the chromatic healing. And the idea is based on different areas or different studies actually. The physics and the informational part, which comes from my background in computer, and the energy part. And the idea is based on the theory of light, that our body have light, and that's proved by science, by Dr. Fred Spock. And he proved by science that there is a kind of light emission that coming out of the cells, and he called it biophoton. And while I was reading one of his researches, it came to my mind the idea, okay, why not I can design a kind of a school that is based on the idea of light, and I mix with that the theories of which is very close, which I studied in the engineering college and then the energy and physics. Because I noticed that a lot of the schools in the energy field that they miss kind of the scientific or the scientific sense or the scientific look in some parts, not in everything, but in some parts. So I said I will build the chromatic healing on a scientific base, only scientific base. Everything have an evidence based. I will put it in the school and I will depend on it. Actually, I started to read a lot on the bioscience and biophysics part, and read a lot of researches about the biophotons. And I started to go to the main books and references books in the energy, which is in the Chinese medicine and the old medicine and ancient medicines, because there is a lot of modalities, but there is no reference from where they got these theories or this information. I dropped everything, doesn't have a reference, and the chromatic healing is based only on the schools and books and the ancient books which I can refer to. I didn't expect that result actually of the chromatic healing. I was building the school just to be based on scientific part. There is no just philosophy for the sake of philosophy, no religious part. I removed everything like that. I just kept the scientific part. And I noticed there is a lot of practices in the energy world that it doesn't make sense from the point of view of science. I also removed that. There is a lot of explanation that doesn't make sense from the physics point of view. I removed that, and I kept only what is I can say what is can be from all the perspective. They have the same point, or they have the same meeting point, and they meet only in one point, from the physics, from the engineering, from the energy. Because I believe that the correct view of the holistic approach is it has to meet all the other perspectives also. I started to teach the chromatic healing for the first time in 2013. And the result actually was very interesting for me because it is so direct. I was able to diagnose correctly. I was able to know what is happening inside the body, because one of the weak points in a lot of schools and a lot of practices, they do the session, but they don't know what is happening inside. Is it okay or not? They don't know how to diagnose, how to trace the energy, how the energy moves. And the chromatic healing, we can do that. The chromatic healing is based on the idea of light, on biolight, and from the light, we able to diagnose the light emission in the body, so we know where is the weakness in the body and which organ, and also how the energy can be balanced. This is also part of the theory of the chromatic healing. The interesting part is also that we developed, or actually I developed the chromatic healing. I use the word we actually because I believe that the whole community and my community and all the people who studied the chromatic healing is helping in developing the science of the chromatic healing also. We developed a way that we, based on a theory that we don't need energy from outside to heal ourselves. It's just about awareness. So the chromatic healing is based on the idea how we can help the body, or the correct word is consciousness, how we can help our consciousness to be more aware, or to be correctly aware. So when the body starts to be aware, or the consciousness starts to be aware about the weakness and defects, the system starts to heal itself. It starts to take in energy and expel energy. And one interesting question here is, why the body stopped doing that? Because the consciousness starts to believe that's the correct way. And from here start the malfunction of the body, or the I can say mal data, or mal information, or mal energy, which affect the body. So our disease, or our illness, or our imbalance, it is just wrong information, or malinformation, or wrong belief, or imbalance in the consciousness. So the chromatic healing help the person, or help us, all of us, to be more balanced based on the idea of light, because light is the tool, or the way to transfer information. And according to Dr. Fritz, he says that the disease is the kind of imbalance, or a problem in the light and the biophoton emission. It's a kind of problem in the biophoton emission. So if you are able to get the body back again to emit light, there will be no disease, there will be no illness, and it will be okay again. Because the light is the way that the body communicates with itself. It's a way to correct itself. And that's the aim also on the target of the chromatic healing. How we motivate the body to get enlightened. And here I focus on the word enlightened, because enlightenment is not just physical, it's also mental, emotional. And we can relate that and for the word enlightenment in the old human history and philosophy about being enlightened, and how meditation can help the person to be enlightened and reach enlightenment. And that's true. That's true. That's true on the physical level, and the emotional level, and the mental level. Because enlightenment means, on the physical level, better health. Enlightenment on the logical level, on the mental level, means good belief. And as you said, feeling good. And in the emotional level, feeling good also, and have good intention, good emotions, happiness, acceptance, forgiveness, and that's enlightenment. And that's the target of the chromatic healing. The target of chromatic healing is enlightening the person, so the body knows how to fix itself. I'm not fixing anyone, but I'm facilitating just the enlightenment process. Mm-hmm. That's the chromatic healing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking about that assumption again, going back to assumptions, you flipped it around. Why isn't the body doing it? What is it
Yeah,
that stopped it from doing that? Because it innately knew how to heal itself when we were born. So what was that shift? And
yeah,
and to be able to then address it with the enlightenment, I'm just thinking of the scale of consciousness, and as you kind of come through those different emotions, different life
yeah.
perspectives, enlightenment is where you're heading, and that's where the light is the strongest. Yeah, it's beautiful. And for again, for people who may have assumptions or ways of living that they've accepted, to be able to then
Yeah,
ask, is it true, and do I need to be here, and
yeah.
can I change? And if I change, what's possible. That's beautiful.
That's truly, yes, that's a core point of the chromatic healing, that we start to accept ideas and believe which doesn't serve us. For example, revenge. If someone of the people start to believe that revenge is the right way to feel good, or to take my rights, that's a wrong affirmation, which will affect the system. I may believe that the right way to take my rights is to have an action which is a revenge, which is not right, but I believe it's right, which is wrong, because I accepted that. But my body, as a system, it knows the truth. Our body, embedded in our body, the truth. Revenge is not correct. So our body will start to react. Our body will start to react. And that's why we lose the light. So when we bring the light back again, we start to be more aware that revenge is not right. Revenge is not the right way. Revenge is a way not only to harm the others, but also to harm me. I'm harming myself. I'm harming my body. I'm harming my belief system, and that's why the disease appears.
And I'm thinking about, when people get those repetitive thoughts that come into their mind. And sometimes it can be something that a parent told you when you were little, that it replays itself. But when the light starts to drop down, that's when those repetitive thoughts, and in Tai Chi we would call it monkey thoughts, that's where
Yeah.
those repetitive pieces keep coming in, and that's a great signal for you're not balanced and the light has diminished. So being able to bring in that frequency and raise the body back up, bring the chi in. And I for myself noticed that as a really good cue, because when those phrases start running around, and I have to stop myself and go, is this even mine? Is this something that somebody else gave to me, and I've just all of a sudden hit the place today where it's coming in because I didn't take care of myself well enough through the day today? And then I stop and go, how do I change this? And as you were talking about awareness being so important, because that awareness is what leads you to the innate healing potential to engage. It's just an easy shift. And I enjoy the fact when I have the consciousness to be able to go, why is this repetitive thought here? How can I change it? And then instantly can make a change. And how many people might not be able to do that. And that repetitive thought is there for weeks, months, years, just because they can't get themselves out of that. Yeah, it's beautiful. Okay, so I'm hoping that as the listeners are listening to this and they're thinking about their own parts of their lives and the way things go, Mohamed, you invited two lovely women to join us today and share their stories. Do you want to bring them into the conversation now?
Yes, I have Noreen. She is a board member in the International Board of the Chromatic Healing, and she is from Egypt. I have Noreen, and I have also Farah. She is the president of the Chromatic Healing Board in Lebanon. She's Lebanese, and she's joining us today also from Lebanon. I would like to invite both of them to speak about their experience in the chromatic healing. Noreen have an application of the chromatic healing in the physical and the emotional and the relationship, because chromatic healing can be applied in different areas. I can on the physical level, balancing the physical level, so it helps us to cure from diseases and illnesses, and also in the mental level. Sometimes the imbalance is mental. So it helps the person to be more aware and correct their psyche and the emotional part also. And Farah have a specialization. She is an occupational therapist, and she applied the chromatic healing with the occupational therapy, and she started to use the chromatic healing with the kids to correct their behaviors, and also she used that with the autism children, and she have a very interesting results and amazing results she can share with us also today. I would like to start with Noreen. Noreen, can you join us?
Yeah, I'm really excited to join this talk about chromatic healing because I joined the chromatic healing in 2013. I was one of the first people who learned chromatic in Egypt. And since then, I was applying the chromatic within my family, my friends, myself. And after that, for sure, my clients. Let me say something about the chromatic healing. The application of the chromatic healing is really clever. It's a clever science. So Muhammad, when he teaches us the chromatic, he gives us the freedom to apply this on whatever we like. So we can give balance to whatever we have in mind. So I want today to balance a relationship. I apply the chromatic healing techniques on relationships to be balanced. When the relationship is balanced, amazing things happen. People get connected. People communicate more. People express their feelings in a very nice way. And sometimes they break up in peaceful ways, peacefully. So the balance in relationships was one of my first applications, and I was amazed by the results because relationships are complicated and communication within people are a bit complicated. So if we have a very simple idea to apply on different relationships of people, the results that we have here is really amazing. As I told you before, sometimes people get communicated, they get very close, they get engaged, they get married, or they peacefully break up in a peaceful, satisfying way for both of them. Another way that I like to use the chromatic healing on releasing emotions, negative emotions, and releasing negative patterns like the monkey thoughts that you were talking about. I can use chromatic healing on the thoughts that do not serve the people. If I have a thought or a belief that does not serve me anymore, when I go to balance this thought, it goes away. And that's a very simple step with very simple questions that we use. The session is only 20 minutes and people change after that. And this is really clever. And this is the clever application that we enjoy with the chromatic healing. Another thing that I like to use with the chromatic healing with my clients and myself is the different patterns and behavior that do not serve people. Sometimes people have emotional eating problems, smoking problems, eating junk food, eating sweets, and they like to stop that, or simply they have other behavior like shouting, being angry with their kids. They are not going to work in a punctual way. They are not punctual. All of that I can easily deal with the chromatic healing. I've been practicing this for 11 years now, and And I really like the results. I don't know if you have a question for me.
I'm just in awe when you say in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So I know for listeners, who think about they sign up for a program and it's 8 weeks or it's 3 months too, and it's like in 20 minutes you can be transformed.
Yeah. We teach people, one of the very basics that we teach people in the chromatic healing field, that it is fast.
Yeah.
So chromatic healing sessions are really fast, and the results are really fast and amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, I would like to share here an idea, Michelle. The chromatic healing is based on the idea of healing, not therapy. And I say that therapy is a human made, which needs time and space. But healing is, I can say it's something natural. It exists in the world by nature. So healing is the idea of meeting the correct part or the correct mating between the yin and yang. If that happened, the healing started at that moment immediately. And maybe also doesn't take a long time because healing is beyond time and space. But therapy need time and space. For example, when a patient goes to the doctor, the doctor will tell the patient, okay, you need to use that for 2 months or 3 months. In healing, that the patient or the person can be healed or the client can be healed at the moment, or maybe it takes some time, but from the perception of healing. In the chromatic healing session, yes, the session is very short. It's 20 minutes. We may use or repeat the session for several weeks. But the point of the chromatic healing, it is not about time. It is not about going to a long journey, because we motivate the body to heal itself. So when you go to the right path and work on the correct points, you will feel the difference immediately. In a few days, you will feel there's something different, because the body is very fast in I can say in healing itself, in becoming aware about the problem, in fixing, and also the body has the awareness to know what is the correct way to balance that. So the idea and the aim of the chromatic healing is not to fix the person in a specific way, but the idea of the chromatic healing is to balance. So that's why the theory of the chromatic healing emphasizes of the word balance. And because of the word balance, we started to ask, when someone has a problem, a relationship problem, or a disease, or an illness, we start to ask how this can be a solution, not a problem. Because our body is based on the idea it is solution oriented, not a problem oriented. So when I have an illness or a disease in the physical body, I start to ask myself how this can be a solution. So if I will ask this question, I will get an awareness. So helping the body to be balanced, that balance will help to fix or to balance or to correct that awareness, because disease and our relationship problem is just a feedback, not a problem in itself. If we would think that way easily and fast, we will know which point need to be corrected.
Beautiful. Thank you, Noreen.
Thank you so much.
Yes, Farah, if you can join us and can share your experience with the children and the kids and using the chromatic healing, please.
Hello, everyone. First of all, I'm so happy to be part of this broadcast. It's a pleasure. I would like to tell you that I'm a pediatric occupational therapist since 12 years, and I'm a chromatic healer since 8 years. Okay. Since I studied chromatic healing, I started studying this school for doing some self-healing, and it really improved my life at all levels. So I'm happy for doing so for myself. But also I started doing some practices on kids having autism spectrum disorders, mental retardation, cerebral palsy, and physical disabilities. And in all those fields, and even learning disabilities, in all those fields, the chromatic healing pushed me on a aha moment from the first session, because I was really surprised of the results. Me as an occupational therapist, I work with the kids for several weeks, months, and even years with several sessions to just obtain one goal of my therapeutic plan. Okay? Once, and in my first session doing it with a kid called Adam, he had ADHD, attention deficit and hyperactivity. From the first session with the chromatic healing, after that, I was following up with him for 6 months. It was the first time that he sit down on a chair within the session to do an activity, a tabletop activity. To me, as a therapist, in the first place, it was really a big surprise. I was asking myself if it is a hallucination of my own thoughts, because I'm believing into the school. After practicing it on more than 100 kids for today, because within those 8 years, I'm always practicing chromatic healing in all my occupational therapy sessions. I do believe that it is a real smart and safe and even fast science. I'm always attached to the idea that we are a scientifically based school. We have a new methodology that is working on kids worldwide, and scientifically talking, until now in science, we don't know why kids have autism, why kids have mental retardation, why this kids by himself have cerebral palsy or physical disability since birth. So my motivation, let's say, when I started using chromatic healing, the question was in my mind, what if it is an energy imbalance? And I believe today that it is really an energy imbalance that is making this kind of diagnosis. And we really had a lot of results, let's say, and a real fast results. I have more than 10 kids having autism spectrum disorders that reached the goal of having eye contact with other within less than 5 sessions, which is really abnormal for the therapy field. But now, I'm used to it, so I feel that it is normal as a chromatic healer. Okay, so it is a real smart, a real efficient science, let's say, and it's really when it's applied on kids having special needs in general or disabilities, it is giving us a lot of surprising results, let's say. And I would like to add that it's not only my own experience. We at the Chromatic Healing School and community, we are 6 specialized in this domain. So it's not only me. And this was an added example, let's say, or an added proof to me that I'm not hallucinating the results. It's real. We have a lot of recorded talks from parents talking about their own experience with chromatic healing after being for years followed up in traditional therapies, and they never reach the results that we can reach it in months in chromatic healing.
Wow. Wow. And the parents, how do the lives, because I know you've been observing the children that come to you, do the lives of the parents change?
Yes, we at the philosophy of chromatic healing, we have one of our rules, let's say, what happens inside happens outside. So even what I'm doing with the kid himself in a chromatic healing session, it's changing something in his own bioenergy of his own body, and it's reflected in the relationship with the family. So honestly, I have a lot also of talks from the parents talking about their own relationship in the home itself, their relationship with their own kids. There are some switches from not accepting and refusing the case, the diagnosis, the abilities of the kid, to really love him, see him or her, and deal with them as kids as they are. Because I do believe, as Farah, that we are all different. No one of us is the same like the other, and this is one of the most beautiful, let's say, criteria of being human beings. I believe that parents were going straight to this idea or this thought directly when I balance the energy of the kid himself, who he is benefiting from the sessions.
Wow. It's such an interesting idea when we think about the stressors that are on us because of the other people with illness in our lives, and then how that completely transforms for us when that impetus is put in place for the transformation to happen. And it's a web, but we don't usually think about that, particularly if we're the one with the illness. We're not thinking about how we're affecting all the other people, and then what that means in the community in which we live or the family in which we're situated. But then that whole process of, again, how quickly relationships change, lives change, and the repercussions that that has. It's such an incredible rippling effect. Yeah. Wow.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you as well for sharing. That's amazing. Mohammed, is there anything else you'd like to add to some of these stories?
Yes, people may ask how this method or the chromatic healing can help in the relationship and the physical and the children, in the behavior and the psyche and the emotions, how it can affect all these different areas. Actually, because the things that hold all these different areas is the consciousness. The emotion have consciousness, the behavior have consciousness or controlled by consciousness. Even our relationship is affected by consciousness. When there is a group of families, there is a kind of energy, which is consciousness, is controlling the behavior and the communication of the family. So the target or the aim of the chromatic healing is not to fix the family, but to balance the consciousness. By fixing the consciousness, they will the consciousness will activate in them, and between them is the self-healing mechanism and self-adaptation mechanism. Because the low level of awareness, the people start to have a very weak access to the self-healing and self-adaptation and self-orientation, which is embedded in that consciousness. And that's why when you can apply the chromatic healing in different areas, you can apply the chromatic healing in business, you can apply the chromatic healing between the family, between a husband and wife, between a father and mother. You can apply the chromatic healing also in a group of people, for example, in your home, to balance the home. Sometimes I don't feel that the home is on the energy level is not okay as before. You can balance the consciousness. So balancing the consciousness affect the home and the people inside the home. So from that point of view, we can apply the chromatic healing on illness and disease, because illness and disease, from the point of from that perspective or from that point, is a kind of leaded by consciousness, which give the body the orders to behave like that. So it's just a feedback. It is not a problem. And we have a rule in the chromatic healing which says that change your belief about what you see will change. Change your belief about what you see, what you see will change, because this is one of the fast and simplest way to change the consciousness, or to access the consciousness, self-healing and self-adaptation, to take the lead.
I'm thinking about business, because we spend a lot of time, talking about self-care and working on ourselves and supporting family, and you go to work, you
Yeah.
know, and you forget that it's the same within work. Work is like its own body in itself.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about Noreen and Farah, how you approach going to work, knowing what you know, because to me, as you were talking, I can sense the joy in going to work and the difference that you have every day, the miracles that happen. And that's how I feel too when I go to work, and I'm get to do energy work every day. That's it's just such a lift. But when you apply that back to how your company functions, how the interactions go with employees or colleagues, and I know too when I've done a session with someone and I leave the session how I feel. I know how they felt when they went out the door, but how I feel, that completely changes the interactions in the office. I'll just say it that way. Sometimes we're at home, but do you want to maybe each of you just talk a little bit about how using these techniques has really changed for business for you? Noreen, do you want to go first?
Um, Actually, now I know that there's no problem. No, there are no problems at the surface. There are solutions. So whenever I have a problem at work or in the session or within my colleagues, or I see problem that I'm responsible for, I know it will work. I can work it. I can solve it, because all we need only is to balance, is to give balance to what we have. So that makes life is easier now. So I don't have to think a lot about what can I do about the different steps. So we're going only to balance. We're going only to make sessions, and then when we move, it will be easier. That's on one hand. On another hand, I really enjoy what I do within my sessions, my workshops with my clients, and I don't feel like I need a vacation from what I'm doing, or a vacation from my business, because what I do makes me feel good. It makes other feel good. We were talking in the beginning about if you feel good, you can do a lot. So I don't consider giving sessions or working is work. This is me making myself feeling good, and this is me making others feel good about themselves and about their lives. So that adds a lot of joy and a lot of happiness and a lot of positive feelings and positive ideas into the whole life, not only into business. And in chromatic healing, we also believe in the abundance. There is a lot. There is light. There is energy. There are solutions. There is everything, because the light itself has every positive thought, has every positive belief that our system needs, on the emotional level, on the relationship level, on the physical level, on the business level, on the financial level. So we have everything in the light zone. Maybe Mohamed Essa will teach us in a while about the light zone. If we are in the light zone, we have everything. We are abundant beings. We are healthy beings. We are capable of solving all the solutions. Life is so much easier than what we had, like 20 years ago.
Perfect. Thank you, Noreen. Farah, how about for you? Oh, something happened to sound for you. Oh, still we don't have sound. Farah. Try that. Nope. No, something happened in there. All right. We'll let you work with that for a moment. Mohammed, is there anything you would like to add?
Yes, actually, regarding your question about the business and chromatic healing, actually, the chromatic healing, as I said, the aim and the target of the chromatic healing is bringing awareness. So the chromatic healing can help the people in the work place or the partners to be aware about what to be enhanced, what problem they have, what weakness they have, what strength they need to focus in, what weaknesses they need to correct or to empower. So the chromatic healing is a kind of session which is the target is to bring the light, and light means awareness. So we refer to light by awareness and awareness by light, because when we are in light, we are more aware. So and the weakness appear in the life of the person or the participant because there is no enough information. Information is power, and knowledge is power, which is light. So the chromatic healing connect our consciousness to the right flow of information and right nodes or points of knowledge. So we become more aware about what we need to be aware.
Beautiful. Farah, do you want to try one more time there?
Okay, hello.
There we go.
Okay, deal. The whole experience.
Oh, it's faded out.
ستروح بعيد شوية كده يا فرح يعني. It went away. Yeah, it's now it's better. Can you try again? No, it's still. I think that the connection maybe is it stable in Lebanon nowadays? I'm not sure. Maybe it is a weak connection or something like that.
Oh no. Okay. Well, we'll leave that for a moment, and if that changes, we can always come back, so we can hear your story too. What I would like to do is go back to Qigong and Tai Chi, and what kind of practice you're doing now.
Actually, I follow for more than 30 years, as I mentioned before, the Tao school, and that's what I practice always. And I practice the Taoist meditation, and that's daily. I do that, and I use the inner alchemy meditation actually in case that I need more energy or to heal something or to correct my energy. The Nei Qigong is the first choice for me actually, especially in the states that is very deep, because Nei Qigong is something very, very, very strong and very deep, and it needs actually an experience and a good teacher to able to apply it in the right way.
And for those people that are listening, that's spelled N-E-I. Isn't that correct?
Yeah. N-E-I, yes.
Yeah, Qigong. Yeah, just in case if people are looking it up. Okay.
Yeah.
So Farah's come in once more. So let's try see if that sound's gonna work this time.
Can you try again, Farah? Can you try to join us?
Okay, I am talking right now. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I turned off my video, so I believe it was a connection issue.
Yeah.
Okay, I was saying that I'm grateful for this journey to be part of whatever I'm doing with the kids with chromatic healing. Talking about the business, being a chromatic healer pushed me, let's say, to upgrade and excel my work, because I'm going with the flow, with the energy flow. I always, I keep seeing kids each day for, let's say, 5, 6, or even 10 sessions per day. I'm in an enlightenment mood. In a way, I can provide the kids with the chromatic healing session. This to me it made me always grateful, happy, feeling, let's say, at rest, relaxed, okay? And it pushed my business far away in Lebanon. Yani within the Lebanese situation, we have economic crisis. I had the chance, let's say, to upgrade my work and having a bigger clinic and even having a center. I believe it's all about chromatic healing because really when we are in an enlightenment state, as Muhammad mentioned, it's all about being aware and being living the now moment and really being aware of the solutions, not living the problems. So this is what I would like to share about business life with chromatic healing.
Isn't it lovely to know that you can go to work every day? And I don't even want to say go to work because it's my mentor used to say he used to go to the lab to play. He'd be in the sandbox is how he would refer to it. But just that joy that comes out of it, and the ease and flow is what everybody's commented about. And so there are so many people that are in different business activities where it is not ease and flow. And that creates havoc on the body and that opportunity to heal. And then that means it's going to be more effort to find that way to the healing perspective than you would normally have to do. And it just relates back and forth, which is fascinating. And we don't think about it so much in the other areas of our life. And again, we've compartmentalized work as its own box, and then we schedule in when we're going to do our wellness initiatives. Maybe that's going to the gym or going for a walk, but it really is all part of one. Yeah, Farah, thank you for sharing your piece as well about how your business has changed. From there, I'd like to take us to, you've got the Blue Lotus Wellbeing Foundation. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, Mohamed?
Yeah, actually, the Blue Lotus started from Blue Lotus Foundation started from around 10 years, and my idea about Blue Lotus is to have a kind of build a community, which is able to apply the holistic approach on the mental and physical and emotional level, and be able to learn and teach and practice and communicate in a new language, which at that time was new to the Egyptians, to think in a holistic way and to solve their problem in a positive way, and to also think about disease in a positive way, not from the dimension of problem. And as Farah said, that to live the solution and not to live the problem, and to know that life by its nature is a solution oriented, not a problem oriented. So whatever I have and whatever I feel and whatever I see or hear, which I call the problem, it's a kind and a part of the solution. I need just to see the full image. I'll be aware that this is a solution, not a problem. I stated that a problem when I just started to cut it from the full image, and to also make it, and my mind started to be distorted, and to see only that part of the full scene, that part, and that part is a problem. But if you will see the full scene, you will know and be aware that that's not a problem. It's part of a bigger solution. It's part of life. It's part of nature. And if you're able to go to the flow and think in a flowing way of thinking, and thinking from the perspective of solution, you will know that that's life. That's part of life, and you just need to move on. And that's the aim why I built the community of Blue Lotus Foundation, and I started that company in Egypt.
Beautiful, beautiful. What is on the horizon for you next? Because I don't see you standing still. So,
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm thinking that building a kind of a school that integrate all the things that I had studied from the cognitive part and emotional part and energy part to give the people a kind of tool they can apply to help the people to reach a better life. Because I noticed that there is a lot of methods and strategies that try to solve the issue or the challenge that the client have only on the mental level or only through the emotional level. But my idea is, what if we can move between them? Because sometimes the struggle is not only mental, not only emotional, not only physical, but we can move between the three, the emotional and mental, also, and maybe also the spiritual. So we can facilitate the healing to the client easily. Because sometimes the challenge is in that movement. The challenge is not only mental, not only emotional, but sometimes the movement of the mental, emotional, physical. And that's what this is a new project that I'm working on right now, actually. And I call the name of that school will be Entrance, because I will facilitate that solution in an entrance state. Because in the entrance state, we will able to move easily between the mind and the body and the heart. And the idea of entrance is to move between them and to let the subconscious solve it easily.
wow, lovely. Okay, that gets us to, I think, a closeness for the end of this conversation. And we talked about what kind of movement ideas we could suggest to those people listening on the podcast. And if you have been sitting and listening, then we invite you to get up and move around so that you do engage the whole body. Mohamed, do you want to share a movement idea that you like?
Yeah. Sure. I have something very interesting I would like to share with the people from the Chromatic Healing School. We have a few questions we ask in the Chromatic Healing session, which bring more awareness to our consciousness. So when we become more aware, that means we are stronger on the level of consciousness and awareness, which increase the percentage of healing and reaching the solution. For example, if I have a client that have a kind of illness or a disease or pain, or even a relationship problem or emotional problem, while they speak to me about that, I start with the first questions. The first question is, where do you feel that in your body? For example, if it is an emotion or it is a pain in the body, where do you feel that in your body? Yeah, okay, you can point here. You can say, okay, I feel that here. Okay, the second question, what do you feel here? What kind of sensation is that? Sometimes they can say this is a kind of something like electricity. It's like electricity pain. It's a painful, and it's like electricity sensation. So the third question is, out of 10, how you gauge that? How painful is that? Okay, they say, okay, it is 9 out of 10. So, and 10 is the maximum and 0 is no pain. They say 9. Okay, and then the fourth question is, how deep is that? 0 is the surface and 10 is very deep. You can say, okay, it's 5. So it's a 9-degree pain and 5 deepness. Okay, the fifth question is, if you will look to that, it looks like what? Or how you see it as a metaphor. They say, okay, I see that as a kind of a spark, electric spark is shooting here like an electric spark. Okay, then I asked them, that electric spark, which is 9 and very deep to the level of 5, what idea is there? They say, okay, it's an anger. Okay, so what emotion is there? The emotions can be anger, and the idea. I ask them what's idea and then what emotion. For example, they will answer that emotions is anger, and the idea is, for example, is I'm not able to protect myself. So being aware about all these questions, okay, and the metaphor, and the idea, and the emotions, and also another question is, what color is that? If you will look at what color it is right now, okay, they say it's black, okay, and what color it should be? It should be white. Okay, and then I ask my question is, now, close your eyes, think about that shooting pain or shooting electricity, which is, in that area have a dark color, it's turning to be white, and thinking that shooting pain or shooting electricity is fading away, because when you become more white and leaving that darkness, it will change, and start to breathe, and start by breathing to go to the dimension we call the light zone. And the light zone is it's a kind of dimension, the ultimate dimension, which is have all the solution, all the healing, all the brightness, and it is all white. And start to that you are connecting to that light zone, and there is a light is going and fixing that part. And by meditating that at least for 3 days, you'll find a change will happen here. If that physical problem, if it is a very serious problem, if it is a kind of inflammation, it's a kind of weakness or stagnation, or it is a mental problem, which is kind of, I'm not able to take a decision, I'm not strong enough, or a psyche challenge, or it is an emotional, or it is a relationship. A problem happened with my partner, or a problem happened with my friend. By fixing that on the physical level or on the local level, that will reflect on the outer world, because we have a rule in the chromatic healing, what's happening inside is happening outside, and what is happening outside is reflected also in our body. And by fixing our body or fixing our consciousness, we are fixing our world, and that's another rule in the chromatic healing.
Beautiful. As you were saying that, then the deep breath came in, then the lightness started to happen. So I'm hoping people were experiencing that too, and realizing how simple and quickly you were transforming them.
Yeah.
Just with description.
I guarantee that they will feel an immediate effect if they followed the question that I did, and they go to the light zone and just do a kind of breathing in the light zone, and breathe very slow, and be aware about the light, and be aware that the color is moving from the unwanted color to the desired color, and you will feel the change. You feel the change.
Beautiful. Noreen, what would you like to share?
I like to share something else that I used to learn from Mohamed Essa, that being in the light zone, the thing that the practice that we did here is not only for a couple of minutes, but we can always actualize ourselves in this white place that is full of healing, that is full of energy, that is full of the solutions. So I invite all our listeners to close their eyes and to take a deep breath and to slowly feel the light in their hearts. There is a point in the heart that has all the positive meanings, all the love, all the ability to heal ourselves. And from this point, the light will grow into the full body. It will flow with the blood. It will be there with the breathing. Then this light from the body to the outer space, to the place that we are in, to the room, maybe to the country, to the whole world. So when we feel the change and the light inside, we also change the outside. When we enlighten the consciousness inside, we enlighten the whole world outside. Feel the difference in the body. Breathe in, breathe out, and you can always be there. Not only now, not only while the podcast, but we can always be there in the healing vibes and in the light vibes.
That feels great.
Wow.
Thank you. Farah, what would you like to add?
Based on what Muhammad and Noreen shared now, I would like to add that our emotions may be, or they are even physical. So if we have any unbalanced emotion that we would like to enlighten, let's precise where it is located in our bodies, close our eyes and repeat the same exercise that Noreen did now to enlighten this place physically, and it will balance the emotions.
Thank you. It feels lovely to finish a conversation and be relaxed and focused. Okay, I'm going to bring in Morning Dove Floats Across the Treetops. So this is an action that comes from Low Cup, and it comes from the second part of Low Cup, which provides the opportunity to go into the organ systems and move the organ systems around so they can talk to each other. And this particular one, I'm just going to move my camera. So for those people that are listening, can't actually see me, I'm going to take one hand and I'm just going to hold my palm up so it's facing towards the floor, and my elbow's in line with my palm. So my hand is out in front of me, and all I'm going to do is just glide my arm from in front of my body across. I've got my left hand up. My fingertips are going across towards the right corner. And you can feel the length kind of come through the back with that. And then I'm just going to invite the right hand to go across towards the left front corner. And there's a little bit more action in that, but this will at least get us started. And so we just have a crisscross pattern. My left hand is going across, and now my right hand is going to go across. And when you think about morning doves floating across the treetops, and you think about the sun just coming up, and we've got the deep breaths and all the imagery that's already been presented, we have this lovely opportunity to create integration within the body through the movement. And you can bring in the sunrise and the morning dew, maybe the cool air if we're lucky enough, it's not too hot. And then we also have just what it's like to be able to float, that ease and flow. All right, so that little action can really help to get the body started again if you've been sitting and listening and haven't had much time to move the body around. Wow, what a wealth of knowledge amongst everyone. Thank you so much for joining in and being a part of the conversation. Mohamed, is there anything you'd like to finish with today?
Yeah, I would like to thank you, Michelle, first, and I would like to thank Farah and Noreen actually for joining today. And I would like to thank everyone who will listen to that podcast and will be interested in about the chromatic healing. And I would like to share that in 2024, by July, we are preparing a chromatic healing event, which will be in the US, in New York. So we will have our first course, which will be in New York in 2024, and we are in the process of preparing that.
Wow, that'll be quite something.
Yeah, actually, I'm really interested and to teach in the US, and actually also excited also, and I'm more excited. I'm getting more excited every day when I see that it's becoming closer to teach in the US.
Beautiful, beautiful. So how can people find you, Mohamed, and learn more about you?
There is the website of the Chromatic Healing, www.chromatichealing.com. They can find my contacts there, or they can reach me through my website also, www.Mohamed, Mohamed, Essa, ESSA.live, LIVE. This is my main website. So you can find me through the chromatichealing.com or mohamedessa.live. You will find all my CV, all my experiences, all my contacts, and you can and you can send me on the Facebook or the Instagram or the email. I'm really very happy to receive your email or your query.
Perfect, perfect. So I've made notes of that, and it'll go into the description as well. So as people are listening or following, it'll be there as well. And Noreen, how can people find you?
People can find me on my Facebook business page, Noreen Badr, NOUREENBADR, or they can type Coach Noreen. Then they will find my business page. The same for Twitter and for Instagram as well.
Okay, perfect. Or X, as they're now calling Twitter, right?
Yeah.
The new name. All right, perfect. And I'll add that into the notes as well, so that they can find you. Do you have any last words that you wanted to add?
I was really excited to join this. Thank you, Mohammed, for inviting me, and thank you, Michelle, for inviting me to this podcast. It was really interested. I'm really happy that I'm closing. I'm fully energized. I'm going back to work and to my family, and that was the message that we wanted to share today. I'm really looking forward to see everybody in the coming course in the US. Hopefully, I will be joining Mohammed too.
Wow, that's great. And that was part of the podcast too. Is it's set up so people are balanced as they go through the podcast, so that yes, they're listening and learning, but they do have a balance. But the value of each of you adding what you did today magnified that. So so that's beautiful, and to recognize the fact that people, it's that simple. People can be balanced in just a few minutes, and so that's great. Farah, I know you came and went again trying to keep that the internet going. Are you able to join us and give your contact?
Are you hearing me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, you can reach me easily from the website Muhammad mentioned, chromatichealing.com.
Okay.
And you may also find me on Facebook and Instagram on my business pages as Farah, Farah. الشيخ LCHEIKH علي ALI.
Perfect. I'm just making sure I've got my spelling right here. Okay,
Okay.
and so LCHEIKH.
Yes.
Perfect. And then ALI on the end. It's a separate word on the end of that.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And that was on Facebook, right?
Yes, Facebook and Instagram also.
Okay,
It's attached on Instagram.
perfect.
And also, Farah is listed on the Chromatic Healing website as one of the certified practitioners, so people can find her name and also information about her there on the website.
Perfect. Excellent. Excellent. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here today. It has been such a delight, and I hope that the listeners are inspired to go find the quick, easy ways that they can make changes. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Michelle, and thank you for everyone who listened and who will listen to this podcast. And I'm looking forward to meet you again, and anywhere in the world, and maybe virtual like today. And I'm really excited to visit the U.S. And I'm saying hello to everyone who will join us in the U.S. in New York.
Perfect. Perfect. Season 3, we're devoted to the transformational process that happens when people reach into their authentic selves and create magic. And our season has several different focuses within the month. We hope they inspire and empower you to consider living your true heart's desire with the love and compassion for others at the forefront. Thank you for joining us. This is Be Well with Michelle Greenwell, and I wish you well.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.